concerned his most recent embrace of racist conspiracy theories is being driven by his relationship with far-right influencer Laura Loomer. Loomer was posting unconfirmed rumors about Haitian immigrants in the hours before traveling on Trump's jet to his debate with Vice President Kamala Harris on Tuesday, where he promoted those same false stories on stage. The next morning, she appeared alongside Trump at September 11 memorial services in Manhattan. In the past, she has suggested 9/11 was an inside job carried out by the U.S. government. When questioned about Loomer, Truman said yesterday he was unfamiliar with her views and called her a free spirit and a supporter. Joining me to talk about it is former Republican Congressman from Florida, David Jolly, and former Democratic Representative Donna Edwards of Maryland. Both are MSNBC contributors. David, Loomer is just 31 years old, and yet in just a few short years, she's worked her way up from posting online to running unsuccessfully to represent Palm Beach, Florida in Congress, and now she's made it to the Mar-a-Lago inner circle. What do you think's going on here?
That's the trajectory in today's Republican politics, Rev. I mean, she emerged about a decade ago in kind of the dark shadows of social media, particularly in the conservative conspiracy theory lane. I mean, truly a conspiracy theorist. But that we see these characters now in Republican politics. And I think the critical thing is what should feel unsettling is the danger that it poses that she indeed is a close advisor now to Donald Trump. I mean, whatever you thought of the advisors in his 2016 run, recall he had Reince Priebus as a chief of staff. He then had Mick Mulvaney, the South Carolina congressman. He had John Kelly. Now he's getting off the plane for the debate with Laura Loomer and Matt Gaetz. I mean, he doesn't even have Melania with him or Jared or Ivanka. None of these so-called stabilizing forces for Donald Trump are now around the former president. And so you see the performance that we saw Tuesday night in the debate, and you see the disgusting moment where he calls out Haitian immigrants with this lie and conspiracy about eating animals. I would say this, Rep, I really mean this. I think we need to watch this week. This may be the week that Donald Trump lost the race for the White House. This might be the week. With 70 million people plus watching that debate, nearly half of all voters from the 2020 count, such a poor performance on all topics, certainly demonstrating how unsettled and unstable he is, but then reaching for this attack on Haitian immigrants. This very well might be the week that Donald Trump lost the race.
Donna, it's almost inconceivable that Vice President Harris would be able to survive politically if she were associated with anyone anywhere near as controversial as Laura Loomer. Even Trump defender and Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene has called her appalling and extremely racist. Should Democrats be pressing even harder on this?
Well, when Marjorie Taylor Greene calls you out, you're pretty bad. Look, I think that Democrats are on the right track here. And the note that that the vice president struck both in the debate and since is that Americans really don't want that kind of chaos. They don't want to be driven by racism and misogyny and hate anymore. And I think that that's exactly the way that you challenge Donald Trump and the people surrounding him. I mean, look, Laura Loomer is dangerous. And part of the reason that she is around Donald Trump is because nobody else is. And as the vice president said, it isn't just with Putin and Xi and these other leaders around the world who just flatter Donald Trump. It's other people like Laura Loomer, and then those people gravitate toward him, and he lets them into his inner circle. And in some ways, I think Donald Trump is just allowing others to repeat exactly the same things that he feels and that he then repeats himself. And so this is not a surprise, but the way that the Harris campaign should attack this is continue to be, normal as they are, and to show how outrageous and to the right, not even to the right, but just absolutely extremist Donald Trump is.
Now, David, since Tuesday, former President Trump has been telling anyone who will listen that he won the debate. But he's also been saying the moderators were biased, that Vice President Harris somehow cheated and that he won't participate in another one. That doesn't sound much like victory, does it?
It certainly does not. I mean, he's citing polls from Daily Caller and all these MAGA-friendly platforms. Anybody with two eyes and a brain realized Tuesday night that Vice President Harris had a remarkable evening. She made her case about her vision for the country. It wasn't a perfect evening. There were some misses that she certainly had. But what was remarkable was how she let Donald Trump be Trump, even baited Donald Trump into demonstrating who he was to the American people. And I think the biggest takeaway for the voters is this. Look, if you are a partisan warrior, you're a Harris backer, you're a Trump backer, you felt like your candidate maybe won. But I think for the American people, this was probably the most accurate display of the two candidates we have seen in a long time and we might ever see. You saw Vice President Harris for her strengths and weaknesses. You saw Donald Trump for his lies, for how unsettling he is, for his anti-democratic themes, for his inability to answer questions from reproductive freedom to whether or not Putin should be defeated in the war in Ukraine. Voters saw that perfectly, and I think the choice is now very clear, which is why I think most people would say you'd rather be in Vice President Harris's camp tonight than Donald Trump's.
Donna, let's get your take on the Maryland Senate race. Independent Senator Joe Manchin yesterday endorsed former Republican Governor Larry Hogan. Right now, Hogan is running nearly neck and neck against Democrat Angela also Brooks. This is a seat Democrats cannot afford to lose if they want to hold on to the slim majority. You know the state well. How do you see this turning out?
Well, you know, Larry Hogan is a very popular two-term governor. I think, look, Maryland has a 2-to-1 Democratic registration advantage in the state. And so it is surprising, frankly, that the race is this close. But I think at the end of the day, in order to close this out, there has to be a real strong argument made on the issue of choice and on who you want to control the United States Senate to allow Democrats to really see the light and understand the advantage of supporting also Brooks over Hogan. But he is a popular governor, and this race is going to come down to the wire. Ballots are getting ready to be mailed to Marylanders, and so it really is closing in. But I think with that registration advantage, that also Brooks at the end of the day should be able to pull it out.
David Jolly and Donna Edwards, thank you both for being with us.